You're on.
Welcome everybody, this is episode 5 of Sober and Smiling. My name's Rob.
I'm Nick.
I'm Liam.
I'm Damon.
And I'm Jamie.
Okay, so this week's episode we are going to do all about newcomers. So anything that incorporates newcomers. So there's loads to talk about in this week's episode. What it's like to be a newcomer if you're sat in the rooms and you don't know whether you should go, whether you're feeling anxious about going to your first meeting, whether you think that you should go to an AA meeting, a different meeting, a smart meeting. There's all different types. So yeah, we're going to kick it off. There's, as I say, there's loads to speak about, and I'll open the room.
Thanks, Bob.
Cheers, Rob.
So I'll start. I'm the newest one to these rooms, to this group, and I did try the local charity-run services, and they claim to be abstinence-based, but they don't do nothing when you go back and tell them you're still using. It's not, you don't get any extra support or anything like that. I think the things like CA, NA, AA, things like that, some people might find them too gaudy. I know you yourself, you don't like that sort of stuff. If that stuff gets mentioned, put your head down and just be quiet. And I thought that's what they were. I'd been to a couple of NA meetings through the charities, and I just thought, no, this is not for me, because I'm not religious. I'm not ever going to go away and find God. It's not what I'm searching for. But it's also, people need to understand that although it's abstinence-based, but it's abstinence-based when you're ready. As long as you're still trying, you're still coming into these rooms, that's what's important, because it's not going to click straight away. Nothing does. You didn't take one drag of a spliff and you were that addict straight away, because, do you know what I mean? That's your first time. It's when you choose to keep doing it, that's when the addiction kicks in. So, you're not expected to do it straight away, because, as I was told many times, you spend so long in addiction, it's not going to happen overnight that you become abstinent. And I think that took a while to get my head round, because I always thought, I mentioned it when I came in and I was still using, and I thought I felt like a fraud, because I was still coming in and being accepted as, someone that was not using when I was using, but I was honest about that, so I'm still using. It's difficult to get off, but being told that we don't expect you to, get off straight away. It's not one of them things, but keep turning up and something will click at some point. But another thing with newcomers, I've spoke to people, when you stood outside these buildings where these meetings take place, they're worried about being seen, and I just think, fuck that, pardon my language, but you're doing something about it. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. They might be going on to rack a line up. Do you know what I mean? What are they doing about their life?
Yeah.
It's not. It's your life. You will tackle it how you want to tackle it, and it's only your view of yourself that matters.
Yeah, I think you explained that brilliantly, to be honest with you. From me looking back, the biggest thing about my first, visit to any type of meeting is I expected it straight away, because that's my disease. I expect everything straight away. So I expected to go into a meeting and me just be cured. And I've seen that a lot in certain rooms, that people go in and just expect to be told, A, you're an alcoholic or an addict, and B, how to do it. Like there's some type, pardon the pun, but there's some type of magic pill that you're going to take and you're going to feel better the next morning. It doesn't work like that. And also that you don't have to be sober to go into a room. Like you said, you don't have to be. There is no requirement in any meeting to be sober. The only requirement in any meeting is to try, is to be willing to try.
Yeah.
Like I said, the God thing for me is totally irrelevant, to be honest with you. It's not something I agree with. It's all done by the person, and the work's done by you, not anybody else. But coming into your first rooms is so daunting, because especially if you're an addict or one of my description, I perceive a lot of things. So I go through all the worst case scenarios on going to a meeting. How bad it's going to be. Am I going to be seen? Are my work colleagues going to find out? is a customer there? Are they going to just point and look at me and go, oh, Jesus, you're... Ugh. And it's not like that at all. It's just to keep an open mind. And the best way to do it really is what AA says as well. I mean, I've got no beef with AA, but it says you need to listen. Go to your first meeting and just sit there and listen. For a couple of meetings, just go sit there, listen, take it all in, understand why you're there, understand that you are part of this community, and you're going to always have to be part of this community, really, if you're an addict. For me, I have to be in the company of other addicts. Otherwise, I don't understand what I'm doing. So meetings are so important, and the newcomer is just... We have to treat newcomers differently. We can't just... If a newcomer comes into a meeting, you can't just have any old meeting, I don't think.
No, I think, and I do think as well, there's also a stereotype of the sort of people that you expect you're going to see in these meetings. You know, the ones that, you know, charity-run services, I thought they'd be all generally young people that look like crackheads and bagheads, you know, a general stereotype. And it wasn't, you know, middle-aged people, older people, younger people, just groups of all different kinds of people, all, you know, trying to get help at whatever stage they've sought to get the help. There is no stereotype, and I think as soon as you go into that room and realise that, you know, your fears are justified to yourself, but they're not really justified in general, because there's a whole spectrum of people that need help at, you know, at different ages and different stages of life.
Yeah, our addictions are trying to talk us out of it, because that's what it does. The addiction doesn't... If you're an addict, it doesn't want you to go into that room, into that first meeting. It really doesn't. So it's going to talk you out of it. So it's going to talk you into all types of obstacles to put in the way for you not to go.
Well, it's keeping you in fear.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just about to say the whole
It's
thing
keeping you
is...
in the fear of the what ifs, what's
It's
going
based
to
on
happen.
fear. It is based on
based
fear.
around
I mean,
fear.
I know when I came to the time of me doing something about my addiction and it got out of hand, coming to my first meeting was a bit daunting, and I was full of fear. And again, with it being a local meeting in my local town, you know, like you just said, Robin, you know, you're just thinking, who's going to be there? Who's going to see me? Who's going to talk about it? Do you know what I mean? And it is very daunting at first, but as soon as you get over that is the hardest part. As soon as you get over that hurdle, that first hurdle, it's not as bad as it seems. In fact, it opens up a whole new life to you.
Yeah.
Because that's what it does. You know, it basically gives you guidance into how to live life properly.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, you know, and not be suffocated by your addiction, and to be in a room of fellow addicts who all think the same and talk the same. You know, it's quite comforting. It is really quite comforting, you know, and you can come in and you can get things off your chest that you wouldn't necessarily be able to talk to other people about.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they don't understand how you're ticking.
Oh, absolutely.
But
you can't be in recovery if you're not with other recovery.
Yeah, to sit in a room and talk to another addict about your addictions, they get it straight away because they think like you know.
You feel accepted.
Yeah,
and you
absolutely.
feel like you fit in somewhere.
You found your people.
Yeah, you found
You know.
your
Yeah, I
people.
don't know, I've just been sat here thinking that,
Yeah.
you know, they do become your people. You know, the people that you think judge you outside for standing outside that door, they're not your people anyway.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. But yeah, it is from going off my experience, it is quite daunting. I'm not going to lie. To go to your first meeting is quite daunting, but you know, find someone who you know, gravitate towards somebody who you think might have a connection. You know, everybody's friendly. Nobody's going to bite your head off. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, if you can just find that way in and then get yourself comfortable, it'll be the best thing you ever do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. But you need to find the meeting for you. Not every meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
is for you as a person.
That's another thing that I was going to say is when I first started coming into the rooms, I never went to rehab or anything like that. And before I came to my first meeting locally, I did like an online meeting thing. I think it was called Help Me Stop or something like that. Anyway, it was like a 5-week program thing. I did at home in my office on Zoom before I even went to any physical meeting.
Yeah.
Just to get my head around what I've got to get into and what I've got to do to sort my life out, really. And my first meeting I went to was an AA meeting. Then I went to an NA meeting, and then I went to a few around the country and stuff on trips and that. But it was kind of like, at first, you're getting all these people saying, oh, you should do this, and you need to do this, and they're right what they're saying. But I think you've got, like you've just said, Rob, you need to find the right meeting for you. Like with AA, I wasn't allowed to talk about the substance use because they don't like it, because they're not into that. That's not AA, it's Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're not really, it's quite frowned upon for you to start sitting there talking about drugs, you know. But when CA was set up here, I didn't bother going to any other meeting, not because I fell out with them or anything like that, because they are, you know, AA's great, NA's great. It's just CA, I found, was my flow, because I can talk about alcohol, I can talk about drugs, I can talk about whatever, you know. So yeah, you've got to find where you fit and find your own flow in your sobriety, and you'll be well away.
Yeah, I mean, I fully relate to that. AA was it was just based around alcohol, and I don't think my issue, you know, is with alcohol. NA was a bit too hardcore for me because it was a lot of heroin and crack, and I haven't done that. But the CA meeting that we've set up, it's generally alcohol and, you know, cocaine, prescription meds. So it's actually, you know, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But I was exactly the same as you boys, full of fear. I didn't want to go. My head was telling me don't go. Who's going to see me there? What people are going to say about me? And it was hard. And that's one of the reasons why, because I've been there, that's one of the reasons why I've set Hold and Heal up, because there's a lot of people in my boat that don't go and see anybody. And this is kind of like a stepping stone. So you do come to these meetings, have a one-to-one, and it can guide you to whichever meeting that you want to go to, because everything does help. Regardless of how small you think, how you're doing, it does, everything helps. Everything helps.
If there's anyone out there thinking about coming to a meeting, just literally take the plunge and do it. You know, exactly. Stand up, own your life, and just everybody's friendly. Nobody, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. You know, we're all here for the same thing, really. Yeah. So I think, you know, you just got to stand up and go, right, I need to do this, and just come along to Hold and Heal.
I think as well, some people are fearful of maybe putting the time in, and sorry, Nick, I'll be a woman. I think some people are fearful of putting the time in to get nothing out.
Yeah.
But what are you getting out of your addiction?
Yeah.
Really, you know, it's and you've got to look at it that way. You know, what if I go for 4 weeks and I'm still using? Well, how long was you using before that 4 weeks? So it's that's the wrong way to look at it. You know, like we often say, you'll only get out what you put in.
Yeah.
You know, you don't like I say, you don't have to be prepared to stop straight away. But go, listen to people, something will click. It's an hour, you know, you can give 2 hours, you can do the Zoom meetings. You know, I only come over, I don't do the Zoom. But for me, this works for me. You know, great people, you know what I mean?
Just think about all the time and effort you put into active addiction.
Yeah.
Going, searching drugs, getting your alcohol, getting the money together to do it, hiding it, planning it, all that. If you was to put that in to getting yourself
straight, or
even
even 10% of that effort.
10% of that effort into getting yourself straight,
you'll do it.
Your life will change drastically. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Massively.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just like the rest of you boys say, I'd recommend anyone take the plunge, give it a try. I mean, like I said, my addiction's always been just solo alcohol, and that. I tried a few drugs when I was a kid, but it weren't my thing. And I remember my first ever meeting and that, because at the time when I did it, I was like you, Liam. I tried doing it myself, you know, and I was about 3 or 4 days into detoxing myself, and I could feel myself just going, oh, you know, Jesus. And I thought, I need help, but there was that little nagging part of the back of my head saying, no, you go to one of these meetings, you're a fucking failure. You know, you failed, you need help. And that's what kept me back for a little while. But in the end, I just took the plunge. I remember ringing up the storehouse and saying, do you have an AA meeting? He said, yes, on Wednesday. Luckily, that was a Tuesday, so the next night I went. The problem was when I went, I was literally fucking white as a sheet, like the full sort of shakes. The shakes, sweats, fucking everything was just kicking. And I walked in there, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I even had a really mad thought before I even went in the place, when I was sitting there in the flat thinking, right, as you were saying earlier, like the should I, shan't I? And my brain even went to a place where I went, hold up, they might not think you're messed up enough. Should I go and get pissed before I go in just to prove how messed up I am? That thought genuinely went through my head. And I remember going into a first meeting, and it was a good meeting. That, and like you've all said, best thing you can do is go in there, get talking to people, even though I didn't take a lot in that specific meeting because, like I said, the detox had just took over.
You don't even have to speak, just sit there and listen for your first meeting. Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I was shocked at my first meeting, thinking back, because I was like, I remember going in and going, these people are not going to get me. No one's done things I've done. You know what I mean? The old ego thing, you've not done that. And you sit down and you listen to people's shares, man, and the similarities.
Not the differences.
Not the difference. Yeah, and you sat there and you're thinking, whoa, I don't
telling my story.
Yeah, somebody will tell your story.
That guy's lived my life.
And who you've been talking to, that's
mental.
What goes through your head.
It's mental.
It was such a reflection, like when I was listening to people, don't get me wrong, my first meeting was memorable for a lot of occasions, a lot of things. Because I remember sitting there and
I was at your first meeting, mate.
And I remember hearing the first words, like you said, about God, which, well, Rob says, I'm on the same lines as Rob, but, I always respect if that's people's belief. That's their beliefs, I do respect that. And as soon as I heard that word, I went, oh my bloody God, I'm with the friggin' happy clappers, what the hell am I doing? And then to cap it all off for my first meeting, halfway through, a bloke literally got up, so went, I can't put up with you miserable bastards. Looked at me and went, hope you find all the help you're looking for, mate, and walked out.
Oh no.
So I'm sitting there like, what the hell? But I did what everyone said, like, listen to similarities, not the differences. And I got enough for that meeting to know that I thought, okay, I've got enough of it to say, I think this is probably the best place I need to be. I'm going to go back next week when I'm a bit more better frame of mind and, observe it better. And I did. I went back the next week and took more in, listened to all what people had to say. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm in the right place with this.
And I think that, miserable, do you know what I mean? But you're miserable in addiction, and that's how you get to that place to start with. So why not try doing something else while you're miserable that just might work, because your addiction obviously isn't.
No, definitely. And like when that bloke said, something I've always said is, when it comes to recovering that, I always said you've got to have your heart and your head and your heart have both got to be into it. Because if one's not there, then you could easily find yourself going back on a wayward path to that. And I forgot what I was going to say then.
You've got to get something out of the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it's not necessarily going to be AA, it's going to be your bag or NA or CA. It's about trying all the different meetings and seeing which one's more suited to you. But one thing I have noticed when I found my meeting, it's mad how you can be in a room full of strangers but actually feel like you've known them and you feel like you fit in.
Exactly.
It's a really weird,
like there's a pure connection between you all,
and you feel really safe.
Yeah, and that
it's quite mad, really.
And that really took me back when, like you say, listening to people and you hear some of the stories and you sit thinking yourself, like, you've got that mentality of, oh, nobody's got it as bad as me.
Yeah.
And then you hear other people and sometimes come out thinking, do you know what, I did have bad, I swear.
So bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing with meetings is, if you sat somewhere in your bedroom, say, listening to this, and you've never been to a meeting before, we've all got expectations on the meeting that it's going to fix us straight away, and it doesn't. The point of meetings is for you to A, understand your own addiction, B, to sit there and listen to everybody else's addictions, what they've been through, and then something will click with you. But it's what you gain from a meeting, and it can be any meeting. It can be AA, it can be SMART, it can be here at Holton Hill, it can be literally anything. It's for you to understand what you need to do. No one's going to fix you. No one in the room's going to fix you. So just listen to the stories.
And I don't think we're allowed to, with the AA and the CA, we're not actually allowed to advertise them, are we? But
no, we're not, no.
No, but if you want to, if anybody wants any help on how to find the meetings, if you just put in AA meetings Skegness, or CA meetings in Skegness, NA meetings in Skegness, and you'll find where the meetings are. But the meetings are on a Monday and a Tuesday. But you know, we're not allowed to.
I think the bottom line is if you're sat there and thinking, I've got a problem, you know, I'm in the dark now, like I did. Just find yourself a meeting, come along, even if you don't say anything. Come and meet people who are, you know, the same as you. Sit in the room, listen to what people have got to say, because I've found in the few years that I've been around the rooms is the meetings are kind of like a start for you, like you know, it guides you onto the path.
Yeah.
And like you just said, Rob, you're not going to come to a meeting and someone's going to hand you a magic pill or a magic remedy or, you know, instructions on how to do this and blah, you know. But it's a guideline, and you've got to try and, over time, you've got to try and find what works for you and how you sit. Am I right?
Oh, definitely.
And how you sit in your... And the thing is you've got to want it for yourself. You know, if someone's saying to you, you need to go to a meeting and you're doing it to appease other people, it ain't going to work.
Your partner off your back,
it
or
ain't going to work. You know, you're
work.
not, oh, I've got to go to this meeting because my missus said I've got to come. You're not going to go to that meeting and get a magic remedy, go home and go to your missus and go, look, I'm sober now. That's not going to happen.
No. Some meetings will tell you there is a magic pill. Some meetings will go, this is how you do it. It's set in stone. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that every day, you'll be fine. That's crazy.
I think
it's not like that.
I found the magic way of doing it is basically going, listening to people like yourself, going through the 12 steps, doing an inside job on yourself on why you are using in the first place. You know, because we don't wake up and go, oh, I'm going to be an addict.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There is something gone off in your life that snowballed you to this point, whether you know it or whether you don't. You know, subconscious, it's happened, right? So you've got to go, get yourself sorted, go inside yourself, work out what it is, fear, anxiety, whatever, and that can help. Meetings can help because it can connect you with people like that.
But you can't do it without a meeting.
You know, but you've got to want it for yourself, man.
Yeah,
that is the bottom line. You've got to want it for yourself.
Because most people that are drinking or taking drugs and they don't really know why it's gone out of control is because you're more than likely self-medicating.
Yeah, exactly.
You're self-medicating. You don't really know why you're doing it. You know, because you've got a knot in your stomach or in your chest, and when it comes up when you're sat on your own, you don't like being on your own. You're pushing it back down by taking a substance.
I think as well, it's not just. I don't think it's just about wanting it for yourself. You've got to be. I think you've got to believe it as well. You know, belief and willpower is definitely big. You know, and when you hear someone who's told your story and you can't believe, wow, you know, that guy's told my story. Well, that guy's clean. He's been sober for 5 years, and it's like, wow, you know, if he can do it, and yes, I can do it. And of course, it's more than telling yourself you can do it, but seeing it has happened to people that, you know, that have been in your situation, maybe a lot lower than you. I think that gives a lot of strength as well. And like you say, you still got to go away and put the work in. You've got to have the willpower and you've got to have the strength, but you can draw on the fact that it is possible because you've seen it.
Well, they say that you get the life beyond your wildest dreams, you know. And when they said that to me once in a meeting, I thought, well, I'm going to come here and I'm going to get a massive house and 10 cars and all this, and I'm going to be absolutely minted because I don't drink anymore or take drugs. Actually, what it actually means now, to me, what I believe it means, is life of your wildest dreams. I wake up now every morning in pure peace, man.
Yeah.
My head is not a mess. My phone's not ringing that I owe people money. You know, I've got my home, I've got my family, you know, and I'm not sneaking about. Yeah. I can do nice things in life. You know, I'm not rich by no means, but I can do nice things in life because I'm not spending money on stupid stuff, you know. And I think what it means, life beyond your wildest dreams, is basically getting your life in order and living.
Just content.
And living right and content.
Being content,
That's it.
You're not trying to prove anything. You're not got anything to prove to anybody.
Yeah. That's it.
Not existent, you know what I mean? Just, you know.
Yeah.
Finally living a nice existence that you've deserved for so long, because we no longer have that. We don't have that proverbial sword of Damocles hanging over our head of what you're going to do the next morning and that, and
Yeah.
what, you know, what have I done and all that sort of stuff.
What you say when you put money terms on that quiet head, I wouldn't swap all the money in the world to swap
Oh,
my
mate,
head. You know, the peace
mate,
I've got today,
mate.
waking up in the morning without that mental obsession to get off my nut.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
It's-
rather
it's
be.
amazing.
It's brilliant. I love getting up early.
Yeah.
nowadays. I really do, honestly. I like to light in, but who doesn't? But,
Oh,
you know, getting up early
Yeah.
and having, I've said it before, getting up early, having my routine, and just going to the gym for my mental health and everything like that, it's just, it's great, man. And not having that noise.
The noise
It's
in your
just
head,
like-
Yeah, I think I'd rather be happy with nothing
Yeah.
than miserable with everything.
Yeah, for
Oh yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Definitely.
But when you kind of get sober and you've been sober a while, you don't actually want, you realise that everything that you wanted, all the material things, you didn't
Yeah,
really
you-
want it in the first place because you're doing it to kind of
Feel
almost
better.
feel better about yourself, but you're running away from it really.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been in rehab and I've tried to fix everybody around me. It don't work. I've been in again, come out, tried to buy everything to make everything look right on the
Yeah,
outside.
yeah.
It don't work. Once you sort yourself out on the inside, everything just magically sorts itself
Yeah,
out around
it
you.
does.
And it is, you know,
For
it's,
sure.
it's a nice. I've got a really nice, easy, peaceful life today.
So I would say, if you are listening to this and you're thinking about coming to a meeting, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah,
just come see us and just do it.
Just pick one. You know, if it's not the right one, pick another one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of choices out
Oh,
there.
there's so many different meetings.
Yeah.
Zoom, there's so many. So, yeah, 100%. If anybody's listening to this and not been to a meeting, please go.
It will change.
It will
and
totally
save
change your
life.
life. And
All you got to lose.
Yeah.
It will change your mindset. You know, if of you know of it's. I mean, for me, I mean, it changed my whole life, changed my mindset. It changed my whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you just can't see it when you're in addiction. Do you know what I mean? Because all you can see is, you know, the spliff or the, you know, the line or the pint, whatever it is that is your addiction. That is all that is you're thinking about all day long. So you can't see a better future. Do you know what I mean? You just see next
definitely.
week in the pub or wherever. It's
Yeah.
that stuff goes, and it might come in your mind like a craving. Everything will come back and pop up like a craving, but just look at your life and how much better it is when you ignore that craving.
Oh yeah.
It's little steps. And again, going to the meetings. There's no quick fix. You're not going to go to one meeting and be cured. That doesn't exist. It's just like little steps, and the more you keep going, the more you keep putting the work in, you know, the better you'll get over time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Definitely.
right, so we're nearly up on time. So yes, please, if you listen to this again, please just get to a meeting. There's plenty out there, and always just remember that nobody that I know that's in recovery at the moment has ever turned around to me and said, I wish I was drinking. I wish I had a drink last night. Not one single person has ever turned around and went, I miss that. Because you just don't.
No.
So again, thank you to the lads. Thank you for listening. Please have a listen on Spotify. Go to the channel. Click on there, follow and share. That'd be great.
Stay sober and smiling.
Hey, thank you very much.
Cheers, Em.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.